talk a little bit more about teams and technologies and Trailblazers. We have today Ramesh Narayanaswamy, CTO of Aditya Birla Capital. Ramesh is in charge of the strategy, planning, execution, and support of all technology initiatives across the Aditya Birla group of companies. And he spearheads the building of the one technology team with engineering and innovation expertise at scale to solve business problems. So Ramesh has over 25 years of experience in architecting and building large-scale systems across banking, e-commerce, logistics, financial services, and technology product companies worldwide. And today he'll be presenting how modern technology strategy, architecture, and teams should be structured to deliver value across different business lines. So please welcome on stage Mr. Ramesh Narayanaswamy from Aditya Birla Capital.
Good morning. So I think what I wanted to do is, in relation with the theme of this conference, I want to say what we are actually doing at Aditya Birla Capital. Okay, it's kind of a 6-7 month journey which myself and the team has taken through to see how really we run a conglomerate. See, it's quite difficult. I mean, to do the same business in multiple geographies is fairly easy. To do different business in a single geography, different companies, different regulators has a certain amount of challenge built in. So the whole idea was, how do we create efficiency? How do we do things faster? How do we create value, right? So that's really the theme which I'll spend the next 15 minutes to take you all through. I mean, this one, I'm sure this is attributed to Einstein in the web, so we take, this is the real story, right? So the story is very simple. One of his staff actually comes and says, Professor, you are actually, again, absent-minded. You have given the same question paper as last year. He said, I know it, but the answers have changed, right? And imagine, right, this is the time in history you had Einstein, you had Oppenheimer, you had Bohr, you had Heisenberg, everyone, and modern physics was really changing every day. In technology, that's what is happening today, right? Every day something new comes. Every day something interesting comes. And I feel that the teams are getting caught in that. See, everyone is simply delaying the decision because they know that something new is going to come tomorrow, and let me wait for tomorrow. And I'm saying, and we told in our company that's not going to help us. If there is something which we know it is going to work today, say it's going to work for us for the next 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, we move on with it, right? Because I felt in the last at least 10 years, there's too much of things going on trying to evaluate solution, let's do that, let's do this. And then we're getting confused, to a larger extent. And we said we will not do that. If you want to skip certain solutions, we will skip. If you need to skip certain generation of things, we will skip. But let's take something today, understand the question much more. And the questions are same. And if you see in banking, 80% of the questions are same. How do you open an account? How do you do a fund transfer? At the highest level, right? Then you start breaking down, then you see the differences coming in, and you start looking at different kind of solutions. So we don't want to get stuck with solutions, but move on as it comes by. And it has really, I would say, given a lot of benefits in the last 6 months, because a lot of projects, programs were stuck for years, we have actually implemented. I'll give a couple of examples of that. And I think this is really the crux of the whole thing, right? If you talk to my boss, Vishaka, that she will always start with this, right? And here what we did was we simply combined the business and technology, so there is no business strategy, there is no technology strategy, right? If you really want to achieve one customer, one ABC, one P&L, the only way is we're going to do data, digital, and technology, right? So the culmination of the concept is done at the beginning itself. Because I've seen a lot of companies where they will say, look, you've got fantastic things, and technology comes fairly later. People, a lot of them talk technology. As I always say, right, if you're a mechanic, the mechanic knows how to drive the car, right? But every driver is not a mechanic. So that's the problem, we are stuck in it, right? So we are interested in seeing what happens behind and how the technology team moves forward. This is a very, very basic slide, right? And I think, which is grossly underestimated by the CIOs themselves as to why a very clear framework is required, okay? And I think we also underestimate the power of acronyms. And when I started this, first people said, okay, you'll come up with one more acronym, but then slowly what has happened in the 6 months is people have come to a kind of a thinking saying that, look, at least it gives me a construct in which I can think, right? And of course, why we did Pilani was very simple. I studied in Pilani, and of course, If you go to Pilani's, it's 95% of Pilani is Birlas, right? Other than that, very few things exist in Pilani, right? And if you really look at the sixth topic in your company, it will come in some form or shape. There is nothing outside technology in this. You have to build a platform. We saw on the previous one. We have to create digital. We know all of knows there is nothing we can do. And the third part is what is very crucial for us, right? I'll spend a bit of time on living. Data is easy, new technology, infrastructure. These are all very straightforward concepts in terms of what we are doing, right? The problem I see is in the third one, right? Why I call it as living is, as technology changes, new thing comes in, the organization should have something fundamental to absorb those changes. So you can't change the fundamentals, okay? Everyone speaks about architecture. You talk to people, first level, second level, third level, they will say platforms. No, we're talking about architecture, right? See, these words have started changing so interchangeably that it has lost its meaning. How do you run a good project management office? Now, we still say, do digital transformation. I was reading an article, 80% of digital transformation fails. But the amount of money spent has increased year by year. The number of people who claim that they are digital transformation expert has gone through the roof. And everyone says that, because they've got a PhD in artificial intelligence in 6 months. But where are we heading to all these things? Where are the fundamentals to do? So we solve very fundamental thing within the technology structure to get these things done. Actually, there was another slide which I had. So when I went to the board, I said, what I will not do. Because it's extremely important, right? When you run a conglomerate structure, people in the companies get extremely worried that, okay, now you've got a holding company. What are they going to do? Are they going to dictate what we should do, what we should not do? But we took the other approach. We said what the holding company will not do when it comes to technology and what we will do when it comes to technology, right? So we said there are only four areas in which the holding company will look at. Infrastructure, because today our infrastructure is spread across all companies. We'll bring it into a single organization, but that doesn't mean that we're going to pull out everything and create another jumbo organization at the top. How do we utilize people who are there so that we can meet an end objective? Second is transformation. This is about culture. How do we really do processes, project management, architecture, tooling, operations, etc. Data, I think that's very difficult for us because of the regulatory nature of the businesses. We can't simply move data, and then start selling a product to customers. And the last one is how do we bring innovation? And there is method to madness to each of it, thought through, structured, and we have moved fast. See, this is, again, right, when you see this, my first degree is biology, right? So if you see a lot of modern terms used in technology, kind of borrowed from biology. Transformation, it's borrowed from biology. Culture, it's borrowed from biology. DNA, it's borrowed from biology, right? But people don't understand, because suddenly if you go tell someone, oh, you need to change your mindset and culture, he'll say, look, I've worked for the last 15 years, everything has gone well. Now, why do I need to change, right? So we really took the whole thing across organization, right? We told what technology needs to change, what business needs to change, what HR needs to change, how compensation should change, how hiring needs to change to do. Today, if we looked at in our system, we said a lot of people are good technology managers, right? But we did not have people who really understand technology. So we've completely changed our hiring. If to a certain extent people don't know the depth of technology, we're saying thank you very much. Because that's extremely critical, because the superficial knowledge which we have in a lot of subjects is just will not help the end user organization to move forward. Cloud is a great example, right? Whenever I go and ask for anyone, how do we reduce cost on cloud? They say, you should just switch off when you don't use it. I mean, that's not a very clever way of telling me to reduce the, how do I reduce cloud cost? I know that. What else? People are stuck, right? So we want to create those kind of things where you have certain capability built in the organization to do something very interesting. In alignment of goals, how do we really bring all the different concept to the first slide? How do you think about one P&L, one ABC, one technology, something which we spend a lot of time on. Again, right, if you see, these are all very basic, but in a large conglomerate structure, it gets lost. Because there is one company which will do fantastic controls, there is one company which will do fantastic innovation, there is one company which will do fantastic service, but there are always gaps. Now we are bringing what are all the best practices to a level, and very quickly we are disseminating to the next companies. It doesn't matter who bring the solution to the table. If it is good, what you will see in our organization is the next 1 week, it has moved across organization. There is no question on why I need to do it, why what I've developed in my backyard is good, so on and so forth. Because ultimately, we are saying we have to reach the business objective, what is there. And every project, if you see the objectives or the outcomes, it is explained in business terms. There's no more technology terms of, look, I'm going to implement this, number of changes I've implemented, number of tickets I have. We have gone through all those kind of things, no more. Because it still goes back to what is the business vision, and everything you do tied back to the business vision. So this is the last slide, because I just don't want to take more time so that I can give some time to my next speaker. See, innovation is, I feel in financial services, it is very difficult to do. See, a lot of people, I mean, e-commerce was fantastic, what we saw on own days. I think logistics and e-commerce is the best place to do very innovative things. And, when I was in SingPost, we used to do a lot of things, which was kind of very difficult to replicate in the financial services. But then we said, let's do it in a very structured way, okay? Because for us being a very entrepreneur, kind of a company, this is very important. So there we have completely changed, right? And I was very surprised when they came up with the name Infinite. I said, what is Infinite? Someone said, no, it is innovation, finance, and technology. Then we looked at back, have no one used this before? Then we realized that actually no one has used this before, at least in the searches we did. So I said, it's a good thing to do. Then we said, we'll do it in three things, right? One is inside out, outside in, and co-creation. I think that is a key thing, right? We can't create everything. Now, how do we bring in an ecosystem of people, but in a very structured way we need to solve? We've got around 30 problems which came from different people. We have identified close to 60 partners, who are going to work with us. And then we are going through that whole process of getting it right. So in essence, what I want to say is that if we are running technology, strategy is extremely key, okay? Because once you have a strategy, you can plan. Once you can plan, you can execute. There's been a kind of a thing where we have lost in the last few years saying that let's get our execution right? But if you don't have a strategy and planning, you cannot get the execution right. I think that's what really we are focusing in, because it's very tough for people to come out of that mindset, because they were kind of, how do I say, evaluated or how fast they do things without doing, and financial services, the other thing is, there's nothing called as fail fast. You can't fail. The regulators don't like it, right? So you have to be right the very first time you go and do it, and the very first time when you do it, it's fairly a large product set. Again, I say, and a lot of people say, let's do an MVP. Actually, there is no MVP. If you want to launch a credit card, RBI has got a guideline. There's a tick against every box. So when people come and say, let's do an MVP, I said, yeah, it can be good for testing, but I can never go live with an MVP in financial services. So I think taking all these things together, getting a strategy, having a framework, doing things extremely fast, and aligning to the business is, I think, we have to do, and I think we have started well. We see very good results in terms of our implementation. And again, to the extent we work with ecosystem, we wanted to be part of many things, what's going in the country, ONDC, OCEN, wherever we are, we're just really putting in a lot of effort to change. And the last point I did not touch here is digital, right? See, when we said, how do we improve digital, the final culmination of this, actually, we have created a company itself, which is called as Aditya Birla Capital Digital, whose only job is to really create an app, distribute financial services, and look at digital across, right? Otherwise, what happens is the bit of patchwork everyone does. So we've really elevated to that extent. Imagine a company in financial services just doing only digital products, because that is helping us in terms of thinking where we are able to get good set of people at that level, and then give them a direction in terms of how they can make an impact on a day-to-day financial services product. I think this is my last slide, if I'm not wrong. Yeah. So I gave 2 minutes back. So again, thanks for having me here, and I think hopefully it just gives a sense of why it is important to know the depths of technology when you do it, because the end user will always appreciate the outcome. But as technologists, I feel that we have to go at a much deeper level to solve certain problems. Thank you.